Hi guys, welcome once more on our flight field. This flight was actually yesterday and we got really nice weather and had some action, and it was a pretty eventful day. Here a friend started his dual engine jet. He was kind enough to let me follow him, and he did some modifications to his ailerons or flaperons or whatever, and meant it should fly way better this, but it didn't. We didn't know what the problem really was, but it was basically unflyable and it flew away him. I have no idea why he just didn't cut the throttle, but he went down pretty far away. Here you see the crash, but on the field I couldn't, even by looking at the Mobius footage on my phone, I couldn't be sure where the plane really crashed. So here he drove away. The walk of shame was a drive of shame all around the field to get to the crash site. And while he was away searching for it, I was taking a closer look on the video footage, but I didn't see it because it was too small. So I also had some fun there, okay. Some practicing for the next mini racing sessions. And next I thought I would go back to the field where I think it should, it went down. So that's this field here. But we all heard the crash, so it should have crashed on concrete ground and not on a field. Maybe on this parking space here? No, not really. And yeah, the MiniQuad isn't really the best quad to do a search and rescue mission. A Shugong would be better with a brushless gimbal, which you can tilt down. So once there I had some more mini fun on an unusual place to fly back there. Yeah, and about here is where it really crashed, but with the goggles and with non-HD video footage you just can't make it out. Here it lies, yeah, where the red arrow is. But once he got access to the property of this chocolate company, he really could see it quite fast and didn't need my aerial assistance. But it was fun anyways there. Here you see him collecting the pieces of styrofoam. Yeah, and it crashed there on this road. So that's why, even if this was about maybe 400 meters away, we heard the crash quite loud. Yeah, but that was not the only crash on that day. The first crash was the beautiful Albatros, the blue large jet you already saw on my channel maybe, but I have no footage of this. Now with the crashed plane we have a dead Lipo. You shouldn't use a Lipo that is crashed or that that is puffed due to impact. So Peter here tried to get it to explode. Of course, you shouldn't try this at home.
Und die Mama wird da auch wieder schimpfen. Bub, was hast du schon wieder mit deinen Schuhen gemacht? Warum sind deine Schuhe ganz schwarz?
Da will man Stein nicht machen.
Das ist mein Feuerwehr.
Das Bicken ist schon Zaum. Nein, aber nicht gut. Ne?
Ja, mit der Ding, mit der Gabel ist eine gute Idee, glaube Franz.
Die Gabel kann man Messer drauflegen.
Was? Weg dort! Ich bin weg!
Einlachen.
Das ist jetzt ein Trottel. Das ist ein Schuhkatzen.
Zeig einmal!
Das geht nicht, weil das schwarze Zimmer, oder?
Ja, aber da ist ordentlich viel Schoß
Ach so,
drauf.
das ist der Ding weggebrannt.
Das ist alles weggebrannt, das ist alles, was ich isoliert habe, ist weggeschweißt.
Ja.
They then pierced it with a screwdriver. And all the smoke went right into the barbecue session over there. So if the layers of a Lipo battery get in contact, they do a hefty chemical reaction. Of course, this is toxic smoke, and it can also burn down. Quite spectacular. And smoke a lot.
Lipo grillen, ne?
Yeah, you shouldn't really do this.
Bist du narrisch?
Hau ich dich drauf einmal, ja Mann.
Mal drauf, wie ein Mann.
Smash it like a man. That's what the little kid said to Franz. And here he hit 2 cells at once, I think. So take care when you handle lipos. Don't use damaged lipos. Even if they have only a small crack after a crash, you shouldn't really use them anymore. Make sure to use a good charger. Don't charge them unattended. Even if you think nothing can go wrong. I heard so many stories of people that burnt down at least a room with charging a defective battery or with charging a defective charger. Yeah, just don't do this. This is the tree of the dead pilots of crashed planes. Got 2 editions this day. Yeah, and here I used some more batteries with the MiniQuad, and with such a low sun and great colors, it's really awesome to fly fast and low over the field and over the roads there. Yeah, and here's some additional material from the day before. It was not so sunny. Here I tested once again my Shugong with the antenna tracker and had a separate monitor for my friends there, which was really nice experience to show FPV to others. Here I once again tried chasing a car, fronts in this case, which is really a nice practice and which is safe there because it's basically only us driving this road. And at the end of this road we're about 400 meters from our starting point. Here you see our U-turn space for the cars, and here one of the team members there made his own heliport, and he asked me if I want to do some aerial shots of his 450 copter, I guess, I'm not quite sure. Which turned out really nice. Of course you can do such shooting only if you fly safe and if you keep the distance. Yeah, and Hermann doesn't fly hard 3D, he just flies scale heli style, slow and predictable, so it's not too dangerous to crash into each other. And usually I tried to keep the same altitude, a bit above his copter, so the chance of a crash was really low here. Yeah, and the long flight times of the Shugong are really great. I mean, I started with I just had one battery here, flew around and then came back, and he said, yeah, I want to fly with my copter, and all this within the 15 or 16 minutes of the Shugong flight time, which I really find convenient. Okay, so thanks for watching this video, hope you liked it. As always, leave me some comments, share my videos on Facebook, and tune in next week. Bye.